Hey there, Retro Core kiddos. This is ThatZooooooooo with another Let's Look At, or whatever I call these things again. Yep, it's been a while again. I know I say that every time, but I'm just going to skip that spiel. This time I'm going to do a Let's Look At OutRun for the Sega Genesis. Now, a bit of thing. OutRun was originally an arcade driving game by Yu Suzuki, or Suzuko, which you may know as the maker of Shenmue on the Dreamcast, and I don't know if he did Shenmue 2, but I think he did, but yeah, I want to say this was Yu Suzuki's first game, because this was released in 1986 for the arcade, and you can see I had a practice run there at the top. So yep, the goal of this game is just to drive. That's basically all you're tasked to do, just drive. You have to get from the start to the goal without running out of time. It's basically all there is to it. It's OutRun. You're outrunning the clock. So, you got options here. You see it's on Pro. The level determines how much time you start out with. Super easy is the easiest. You get the most. You start off with the maximum amount of time, and you get maximum time bonus at the checkpoints. And it goes to normal, hard, super. Then Pro. Pro is like the arcade game. You get barely enough time to make it. Yeah. And exclusive to the Genesis version is Hyper Racing. That's why you saw that Pro score at the beginning. And to unlock Hyper, you need to get to a goal on Pro at least one. You need to get to at least one goal on Pro to unlock Hyper. So I just did that off camera as sort of a warm up and to get Hyper. And as it looks like, Hyper is harder than Pro, technically, but I think Pro is harder than Hyper. Because what Hyper does is that it's basically the Turbo Edition. You know, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Championship Hyper Edition or whatever. In this mode, you get as much time as you do on Pro, except the car goes faster, to put it lightly. And because of that, since the car moves faster, you cover more ground more quickly. So, in my opinion, it's easier to get from checkpoint to checkpoint. But just because I'm going to do Hyper mode. And look at these 3 voice clips.
Congratulations. Get ready.
Oh, yeah, 3 voice clips, and you got 5 BGM. One only plays at the credits. You can see it down there. Miles per hour, oomph or oomph. I'm American, so I do oomph. And you only got 3 buttons: accelerate, brake, gear change. It's OutRun. It's not complicated. So let's get started, shall we? And I shall explain everything as I go along. When you start the game, you get to pick the music track you listen to. You got the 3 defaults, the staples of OutRun: Magical Shower, Passing Breeze, Splash Wave, and exclusive to the Genesis version of OutRun is Step on Beat. Doesn't appear anywhere else. So let's start off with a little Magical Sound Shower, shall we? It's my favorite song. It's one of my favorite songs in video games ever.
Get ready.
So let's get ready. Oh, I spun out. You saw I was trying to keep it in the green there, so yep, it's OutRun. You start off with time, and you have to just get to the goal. And you can see, normally the car would top out at 183 miles per hour. Oomph, or oomph. So you can see I'm pushing 213. That's what Hyper mode does. Makes you go faster. It also makes taking corners a lot harder. So if you're familiar with OutRun, you can see that how much more I'm sliding compared to the arcade. So on Pro difficulty, you would have no problem taking that, but on Hyper difficulty, I pretty much almost slid to the edge. But anyway, let me explain OutRun. Like I said, a couple times already. Just get to the goal before you run out of time. Now, unique to OutRun as we're coming up here is there are forks in the road. You get to choose whether you want to go left or right. Left or right. And it's unique in that way. Both letting you choose the song in the beginning and letting you choose your own route through the game is unique to OutRun. You know, most modern games nowadays allow you to upload your tracks, MP3 players or whatever, but back in 1986 that was a thing, you know, letting you be able to choose your own song to drive to and stuff. So, and you can see braking is important. Usually in most racing games, I find I don't really need to use the brakes, but OutRun, you're going to need to use the brakes. If you want to outrun the clock successfully, you need to use the brakes. And if you can't tell, there's other traffic on the road, which gets in the way constantly. The cars, the traffic on the road just does that stuff to you. You bumps them up and it slows you down. It's no fun at all. Stupid other traffic. You may notice that sometimes instead of braking around a corner, I'll just shift gears quickly. That's my way of braking around corners. Now let me explain the forks in the road. I'm pretty much just taking the hardest route. I should have just done left to right, but instead I'm doing hardest to easiest. Well, because I've been practicing the hardest routes, these routes are actually easier to me than the easier routes, ironically enough. But if you take the left fork, it's an easier path, supposedly. If you take the right fork, it's the harder path, supposedly. And like I said, since I practiced on this route, all right-hand routes, the all right fork route, I'm more used to this route here, so this route's actually the easy route to me. I didn't really practice the other routes here, so I know the layouts of the hard way fairly well, but once we get to the easier routes, you're going to see me stumble a bit. You see, I'm basically just bouncing the other cars, pretty much all you're seeing me run into it. But once we get to the other routes, you're going to see me just sort of hit everything. See, the cars aren't doing me any favors. Now, let me give you some stats here. On Pro mode, you start off of Pro and Hyper, you start off of 72 seconds, and you get 60 seconds per checkpoint. And each stage is, on Pro mode at least, each stage is about a minute long. If you do good and don't really run into anything, each stage is about a minute long. On Hyper mode, it's about, since you go faster, if you do good, it's 50 seconds. So yeah. So you barely have enough time to make it. You can maybe have one major crash at most, and still make it to the end. There is one thing though, the fifth stage is usually shorter. The fifth stage is usually around 45 seconds rather than a minute, so if you make it to stage 5, you have a little bit more leeway to the goal. And usually by the time you get to stage 5, you're pretty much guaranteed to make it unless you really screw up. You're not drive stupidly like I am. I'm probably making a lot of you facepalm. I like OutRun. I'm not good at it. Especially on Hyper mode, when I'm used to playing on Pro mode. I didn't really practice Hyper mode, I practiced Pro mode. But yeah, I just figured Hyper mode because why not? So here around the last fork here, we're going to the right way. We took all right-hand routes. Yeah. So this is going to be the hard way. The final stage. There's 5 stages in each OutRun game. The first stage is common to everybody. You always start off on that beachfront. Then from there, it's anyone's guess. Now, there are 5 goals labeled A through E. You know, this is route E. Routes A and E can only be accessed by going all left or all right respectively. So if you want to go to goal A, you need to take all left. If you want to go to goal E, you need to take all right. The middle routes B, C, and D have a bit of discrepancies. You can sort of go off. You can make those your endpoint, and you can make those your endpoint in more ways than one. Unlike routes A through D. A through E, or B through D, or you know what I mean. You got what I meant. So here's the end here. So I had 23 seconds left on the clock. It's a crap load. And because Hyper mode had a lot of time left. Usually on Pro mode, you're lucky to have 20 seconds left on the clock. Hyper mode, 20 seconds is a standard. So at each goal, you get a time bonus, 1 million points times whatever your score is. And you get a little ending sequence. And the ending sequence changes depending on which goal you end at. So yeah. That's the animation for ending E. As you can see at the end of the game, you get to see which route you took, or where you stopped if you run out of time. And sorry if I'm stumbling all over my words here. You can see my Hyper score. It's better than my Pro score. Because this is Hyper Racing, a Championship Turbo Edition. So let's enter my name in here and just go. Now, since Hyper mode really does make the game go faster, I could probably do all the routes within 40 minutes, so why not? For you Retrocore people, I'll show all 5 routes for you. We just listen to Magical Sound Shower, so let's listen to Passing Breeze.
Get ready?
Here. Dang it, I spun out again. Oh well. Hyper mode will help me. Like I said, Pro mode I think is the hardest level. But Hyper mode's unlockable, so... Hyper mode's technically the hardest, but I think it's easier than Pro mode because, like I said, Hyper gives you the speed boost and higher acceleration, so it's easier to recover from crashes. And I thought I was going to run into the back of that car, so that's why I shifted. I shifted out of panic. Don't do that on the road, kids. Don't shift when you don't need to. We must be a really bad driver just passing all these cars. You know, what I think is that all cars are going under 200 miles an hour should get it to one side here instead of hogging the roads like this. See? You got my way. So what I'm going to do is that to get to the other routes, I'm just going to take all the right-hand routes here because, like I said, it'll be easier on me. So you're going to be seeing a lot of repeat stages, so I'm sorry. It's just to help me lay it down on my head. You saw to get to Route E, the goal E, just need to go right all 4 times. Well, to get to goal D, I'm going to take 4 rights and a left. That's basically how you get to goal D. 4 rights and a left. And for me, the easiest thing to do is just to take 4 rights and the lefts, then the 1 left. You could do it in any order. You could take the left immediately to just go right 4 times. Or you go right, left, right, or right, left, right, or something. Right, left, right. See, that's why goals B through D are easier to get to, because you can sort of mix and match your routes. Well, like I said, routes A and E only have one way to go. One way, Charlie. So again, if I'm repeating a lot of things, I'm sorry. I'm trying to work on not being redundant. I'm trying to work on that. Whoa. Get out of my way, green car. You're not green. Well, this car definitely isn't green. We're going 213 miles an hour when we shouldn't be. We should be going 60 at most, probably. But screw the rules, we have money, apparently, since we can afford a Testarossa. Now, fun fact, Sega did acquire the Ferrari license here, and they held it through pretty much all the OutRun games. Until recently. Sega lost the OutRun license in 2011. That's why OutRun Online Arcade for PSN and Xbox Live got taken down, because they lost the Ferrari license, so nobody can get it anymore unless you had it before they took it down. So let me tell you a little something. The car you see here is modeled after the Ferrari Testarossa, which was the big car at the time in 1986. And it's a pretty good car. Rather, like being a staple of the 80s, it's just a good car in general. Just overall. It looks cool and it goes fast. I don't think it went up to 213 miles an hour, but it got pretty darn fast. And it was also featured in a couple movies. I can't name the movies, but the Testarossa did appear in a couple movies and TV shows, too. If you know what they are, good for you. If you know what they are, tell me. I forget what they are. I just know the Testarossa is the face of OutRun. And a fun fact related to the Testarossa, like I said, all Testarossas you see will have the top on them. Well, if you can find a Testarossa anymore. There's only one convertible Testarossa that looks like this. It was called the Testarossa Spider. There's only one produced, though. So good luck trying to find it. It was made in, I think, 1998 or 1996 or something like. It was in the 90s, like 96 through 99, somewhere around there. It was made to give to a former head of Fiat as a gift. So I want to go left this time. I almost went right again. So we're going to Goldie. This is Goldie. Goldie. So yeah, only one convertible Testarossa exists in the world, and the guy and the former head of Fiat's dead, I think, last time I heard. So yeah, don't know who has it now or if it's buried with him or whatever. But yeah, you could probably modify a regular Testarossa to be a convertible, but I sure hope you know what you're doing, because it'd be a shame to, destroy a perfectly good Testarossa because he wanted to be a convertible like this. Now I forgot about that median. I crashed into one of the bushes in the median. I hate split roads like this. There's a I think it's OutRun 2 Special. I have 2006 Coast to Coast on the PS2, but there's a stage in OutRun 2 called Milky Way, OutRun 2 Special called Milky Way, which splits up like that. I hate those stages are the ones I hate the most. The longs of stages that have things you can crash into on both sides off the road, like this. I'm gonna hit a tree if I drift off the side too much, either on the left or right. And that's at the end of the stage, I think, so not as much of a time bonus, because we're getting into stages I haven't played much. So again, I'm just sort of all over the place here. Goal.
Congratulations.
So this is Goal D. The golden Goldie. Goldeen. Pokemon, water type. Number something evolves into Sea King at level something. Aw, we're not getting a trophy. She hands it to her girlfriend. Aw, isn't that sweet? The girl's a champ. We aren't the champions, my friends. We shall keep on losing till the end. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So let's enter our names in here again. And that was worse than my pro score. Oh well. It was faster, so I got more time bonus, but like I said, on hyper mode you spend less time on the road. Normally, if you finish a stage, you get 10 million points just for driving the whole distance. Yeah, for hyper mode, you only get 8 million points for driving the whole distance since you're on the road less for going faster. But oh well. So we got 3 more routes to go. Again, should be under 40 minutes, so let's listen to Splash Wave.
Get
Next.
ready.
Splash Wave. Dang it, I spun out again. One of these times I'll get the start right. So yep, you're used to seeing this by now, this sort of Palm Beach thingy. It's serene, it's a nice easy stage to get you into it. And I don't know if I should talk, I guess I'll talk about the other games. OutRun has a spotty history. It's not really, back in the 80s and 90s it was released all the time. Or in the 00s, I guess, the naughties. Not 80s, 90s, naughties. You know, being British, speaking in British can be fun sometimes. Because they call zero naught in Britain land, or Britannia. So, yeah. This was the first game in the series, 1986, OutRun. Original arcade, and it was ported to a lot of things, like the Commodore 64, the Amiga, and all that jazz. This is the Sega Genesis version, which was ported in, I think, 89 or 91. I forget what the year is on the front. He cut me off. He saw that the truck cut me off. That jerk. So I want to go right, left. Okay, so that'll get me to goal C. Statistically speaking, goal C is in the middle. I think has the most ways to get to it in the end. And I'm just botching this up already. Oh, like I said, hyper mode will give assistance. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. OutRun was the first game in the series, then it sort of spun off in a while. I think the next game in the series was Turbo OutRun. The next quote-unquote official game in the series was Turbo OutRun. It ditched the forks in the road, so it's just a straight line shot. It had 3 sort of checkpoints. There were checkpoints, but it has sort of 3 goal points along the way, which you could buy upgrades, which is new to OutRun. And you had a turbo button as well, which you could give yourself a temporary boost of speed. You know, at the expense of handling, so be sure to do them on long straightaways, or else you run off into the side like I am. And Turbo OutRun was alright. I never played it, but general reception was Turbo OutRun was pretty good. And and from what I've read, people were disappointed that they weren't the route systems, or there wasn't the fork system where you could change the music. But it was alright, and the stages were shorter in general. In Turbo OutRun, the stages were, on average, around 40 seconds long. Or 30 to 40 seconds long. You know, if you wanted to keep up the pace. So I think Turbo OutRun is the shortest of the series. Then there's a unofficial... It was ported to the... Fun fact, Turbo OutRun was ported to the Mega Drive, which was the counterpart overseas. Turbo OutRun was ported in UK and Japan, but was never released for the Sega Genesis in the United States. So you had to play Turbo OutRun through other means if you wanted to get your Turbo OutRun on. So if I just get these cars to get out of the way, yeah. But yeah, you could play it on the Commodore 64 and stuff like that. And also, the Commodore 64 version of Turbo OutRun had a pretty sweet rendition of Magical Sound Shower on it. It's pretty cool sounding. Yeah, OutRun. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I gotta be careful because I knew those were coming. Yeah, this hyper mode's just too fast, man. You're too slow. Whoa, 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 whoa. And crashing is no bueno. You know, when you flip out and stuff like that, that eats up a lot of time, so it's better to break down to 100 miles an hour than to crash into something full stop. It's better for your health. And if you saw, I crashed a couple times. It's I like just how people fly out. Apparently back in the 80s, people didn't believe in seatbelts. But yeah, like I said, Turbo OutRun. Then there was an another unofficial one made for the Sega Genesis called OutRun 2019. It's gonna be 2019 here in 6 years, so maybe hopefully that'll be true. It had the turbo function like Turbo OutRun, except it worked a little differently. It worked slightly differently. Is after you maintain maximum speed for a certain amount of time, the turbo would just automatically kick in. And it had the route system like the OutRun did. And again, it was Mega Drive, it was Genesis / Mega Drive exclusive. It actually made it to the US this time. Again, I haven't played OutRun 2019, but maybe in 6 years, that will be the future. You know, just like Street Fighter 2020. I should be able to make it, like I said, Stage 5 is generally shorter than the other stages. So I should be able to make it even as bad as I'm doing. So the next official game, quote-unquote official game, was... And there was a lot of other official games like Battle OutRun and other stuff. OutRun Europa. The next official game was OutRunners, which... I do have the Genesis version of OutRunners, which I'll talk about more in depth when I play that. That's sort of a hint to the future. Hint, OutRunners. So I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get into it. When I play it. So there we are, 20 seconds left. This is Goal C, the middle road. So again, you're seeing more and more new courses as I'm taking. So yeah. So yeah, he rubs the lamp, and it's a harem, girls for days, and the girlfriend just looks on. You see my route here? It's like a little smiley face, kind of. Without the eyes. He lost his eyes in an accident. And again, I did worse than my pro score somehow. Grr. And I spent less time, so I got more time bonus, but I still somehow got less points. Apparently I'm sucking at the driving part. Oh, also, next up is Goal B, and we're gonna listen to the Genesis exclusive Step On Beat. Step On Beat. There, I got a good start that time. That's how you start it. You want to try to have the bar in the green at the start. That's a good start. And you want to shift the high gear at around 105 miles an hour for a smooth start. Because if you shift when you're too low or too high, you'll sort of spin the wheels and be stuck for a couple seconds. And also, if you shift too low, the car will take longer to shift up the gear. You know, for this car having 2 gears, being able to go up to the maximum it can go in low gear is 121 miles an hour. You know, for it to be able to go up to 121 miles an hour in its first gear, that's one heck of a first gear. You know, my car is a 1991 Oldsmobile, and it maxes out at 110. So this car's low gear is faster than my car is at maximum speed, theoretically. So yeah, Testarossa, man, you can't fight it. And yeah, and like I said, the high gear and standard difficulties goes up to 183, and hyper goes to 213. So yeah, that's a heck of a second gear too. For it being a 2-gear car, it sure can go pretty high for only having 2 gears. And usually I'm bad with manuals. So, I'm bad with manual transmissions. I suck at them. If I ever do Daytona USA games in the future, hint hint, I will eventually. You'll see those are 4-gear cars, and you'll see and I'll pick automatic. I can't handle that. I suck with manual transmissions. I can do 2 gears fine. It's only 2 gears I do all right, as you can see. I'm not botching up too bad. In fact, the manual change is actually to my advantage here on tight corners like this. Because sometimes I use the slow down from the gear change to brake instead of actually braking. So like I said, we're heading into goal B this time, so I'm just going to take all lefts from here on out. That's good. Flower fields. It's like Chapter 6 of Paper Mario. What was I going on? Oh yeah. Outrunners was after... What's the next official sequel after Turbo Outrun? Whoa, that's a heck of a turn there. Yeah. Outrun. I'll talk about more in depth in Outrunners when I play the Genesis version at a later date. Dang, these turns are hard, man. You know what gets me? The easier routes, supposedly, are harder for me than the hard routes. I don't know if that's just me, or is that it's supposed to be the right-hand routes are harder than the left-hand routes, but I don't know, man. I have a harder time with the left-hand routes, like I said, so... Anyway, the next official game after Outrunners was OutRun 2, released for the arcades. It was updated. You know, they actually made a sequel to OutRun 2. And OutRun 2 added drifting and slipstreaming. The drifting mechanic was big, because you can see here, you can't really drift on this, you just sort of skid. OutRun 2 allowed you to drift, which is very useful. Drifting is very, very useful. It makes it a lot easier to go around corners than just sort of skidding by them. And it was released in arcades. It had the standard OutRun mode, like I said, had a drifting and slipstream. You can slipstream behind cars and other players. For Outrunners, like I said, Outrunners added competitive multiplayer, and OutRun 2 still had competitive multiplayer. You can slipstream behind these. You can get up and go faster. You can accelerate faster and get a higher top speed by slipstreaming behind the dummy cars and other players. And it worked like OutRun. You had the route system back, and you could change music. It had remixed version of these 3 classics and music exclusive to OutRun 2. OutRun 2 also added time trial mode and heart attack mode. Time trial mode, as it says, is the time trial mode. It removes all the traffic. You can probably tell I like that. Time trial mode removes all this traffic from being in your way. And heart attack mode is a mission-based mode, where you have to fulfill certain requirements to impress your girlfriend, and you're ranked depending on how well you do. Though I ran into the sign. You're ranked on rank E through AAA, of course E being the lowest and AAA being the highest. You have to be really perfect for AAA. If you get a double A rank or lower at least once, you're not getting a AAA. You have to AAA everything. But yeah, heart attack mode is like the outrun, where you still have to outrun the clock. If you run out of time, you're not going to finish. But if you're at rank A or higher with your girlfriend at the route, you can take, just like outrun mode, you can take any route through the courses, goals A through E. If you had rank A or higher, you would get an extended ending that was more romantic in heart attack mode, so yeah. A bit of extra incentive to impress your girlfriend, I guess. Again, I might do OutRun 2 on here eventually. Like I said, I've OutRun 2006 coast to coast. I might not do it on here, but I'll do it on my personal channel, probably. OutRun 2. I'll explain some stuff there. And this is goal B. Your car breaks down. That's a way to end it. Your guy just sort of shrugs, and your girlfriend's like, "Oh no, your car! Oh, my car!" I guess some street fighters must have came up and beat up the car. It was street hooligans. So there we are. And again, I can't do better than my pro score somehow. Oh well. There's only one route to go. That's the all left-hand route, which is supposedly supposed to be the easiest. And I saved the best song for last. We're gonna do Magical Sound Shower again. Magical Sound Shower is my favorite. You know, Dawn likes Splash Wave. He can go screw himself. Magical Sound Shower is the best. It's not like they watch it. It's not like calling Dawn or Chris watch these anyway. So I can bash them however I want. So we're going to Route A, Goal A, all left hand turns here. And again, supposedly it's supposed to be the easiest route, but like I said, ironically, I have the hardest time with this. So anyway, OutRun 2. OutRun 2 also added the 15-stage continuous mode, where it would run you through the courses from all 15 stages, easiest to hardest, in a 15-stage endurance. You would just go from, you'd start off on the beach area, and you go, you know, you would take the left-hand route here. This would be stage 2. Then the third stage would be the right-hand route from here, and stage 4 would be, you just ran through all 15 stages from easiest to hardest in one run, which is neat. And you can also do time attack mode and 15-stage continuous mode as well. And 15-stage continuous mode is the hardest out of all. And 15-stage continuous mode is harder than just a 5-stage outrun or heart attack or time trial mode, because you're running 15 stages, man. It's an endurance, and you're just leaking time off the clock, and it's hard, man. It's hard, man. You know, Mega Man 4, but 3 or 4, I don't remember. It's one of those two. That was 3 or 4. Hard. He gave you hard knuckle. This isn't Mega Man, so yeah. So that's OutRun 2. OutRun 2 Special, just abbreviated OutRun 2 SP for Special, was an enhancement to OutRun 2, as it sounds. It was an enhancement for OutRun 2 cabinets. It was an upgrade, I think. It replaced the stages with 15 new stages. 15 new stages. You know, OutRun 2 stages were based on the old world, like Europe, Japan, and stuff like that. The OutRun 2 special stages were based on the New World, like the United States and South America. So the stages have a bit of a different flavor to them than they do in OutRun 2. And you saw the same modes like you had in OutRun 2. We had the heart attack, the time attack, and the 15-stage mode. And again, the multiplayer. And there was also an extra special cabinet for OutRun 2 Special called OutRun Special DX, or Deluxe, SPDX, you know, more letters than you need. And it basically made the cabinets a bit, it was an update for the cabinets. It added co-op, where the fake Ferraris were two-seaters, and it added co-op, where it would pass off the driving between you and your partner every so often. So the two of you weren't racing together. But yeah, just sort of passed off the driving between you and your partner every so often. And if I'm not careful, I might run out of time here. I just gotta hope I don't. Yeah. Again, I'm on hyper mode, so I shouldn't. Once I get to stage 5, I should be good. So yeah, I rather, like I said, I'd rather slow down than flip out. There, gear change. I gotta remember, this is the one with gear change. And OutRun 2 was ported to the Xbox, and then Sumo Digital made a compilation of OutRun 2 Special and OutRun 2 called OutRun 2006 Coast to Coast. It contained both 15 set tracks of OutRun 2 and OutRun 2 Special, and both heart attack modes and stuff, and also added a mission-based Coast to Coast mode, which he went through race missions and heart attack missions in a methodical way. And it had online multiplayer for the original Xbox Live and some sort of online thing for the PS2, whatever the equivalent was. And you could also do LAN for up to 6 people, both online and LAN for up to 6 people. So that could be something. I want to play the online services for both original Xbox and, the PS2 version are out of service, if you couldn't tell. I want to get a group of 6 people to play that sometimes. Seems like a fun game. OutRun 2006 Coast to Coast multiplayer, it's a fun game, man. It's the next best thing to actually getting 8 arcade cabinets to stick together with each other. And I never explained how the routing system works in Outrunners and competitive Outrun 2. Again, I guess I'll explain that when I play Outrunners for you guys, which will be soon. Hint, hint. I don't think I'm going to run out of time, despite that crash, so yeah. So yeah, Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast is basically just a compilation, and it's a good compilation at that. I love Outrun 2006. It's fun. Fun game, man. Fun, nicely made. And it was made by Sumo Digital, which would also go on to make both Sonic and Sega racing games down the line. Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing, All-Stars Racing, and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. And man, I didn't get a lot of points. I just broke 15 million. But I made it. I made it. And yeah. And that's basically the... Oh yeah, an Outrun Online Arcade was released for PSN and Xbox Live in 2010, and it was taken down at the end of 2011 because Sega lost the Ferrari license. And this is Goal A. There's a group of people just come up and just sort of give you 3 cheers, hip hip hooray, and the bikini girl just stands off to the side, and the girl, they drop you and the girlfriend's like, oh no, again. So that's Goal A. And I know I drove pretty badly. So that's all 8 goals. Or all 5 goals. Where did I get 8 from? That's all 5 goals. When you beat all 5 goals in a single session, you get the credit sequence, so... I just basically beat the whole game. Right here for you. And I did it on the... what I think is the easier hyper mode. Pro mode just breaks your balls. You can only have one major crash, and you're done. Hyper mode is a bit more forgiving, even though it's technically harder. But this is the credit sequence, it just plays a short credit sequence and stuff. So yeah, I guess I'll explain the routing system really quick. In Outrunners and Outrun 2, the routing system worked by... Since they were competitive, if you're playing in single player, it played just like Outrun. But in Outrunners and in Outrun 2, if you're playing competitive multiplayer, you know this routing system? What if one player wants to go left and one player wants to go right? It wouldn't be fair if the players took different courses, wouldn't it? Well, they found a way to fix that. If you're playing with 2 or more people in a competitive mode, the player in the lead decides which route you take. For example, whoever's in the lead decides which route you take. So whenever you reach the fork, whichever player's in the lead at that time, whatever they pass the fork on the left or on the right, will determine which way everybody will go. So, for example, the player in the lead was on the left-hand side when they got to the fork. Everybody would go left, and if somebody came along and went on the right side, they would have to switch over to the left side before they crash into an invisible barrier. So that's how that works. The player in the lead decides which route you take, and the player in the lead also has control of the music of the radio station. So that's something. Here comes Trophy Girl again. And she walks past you and gives it to your girlfriend again. So it's basically like Goal E. Except, in this extended ending, the girlfriend feels bad for you and gives you the trophy. Oh, ain't she sweet? Yeah! Victory! And this is what you get. You get a credit sequence and a still picture saying, Congratulations. You get your guy doing the manliest pose ever, with your trophy on top of your Testarossa and your girlfriend smiling, if you can call that smiling, or back there. So, and to get off this, just press start, and it loops back around. So I just basically played through the entirety of Outrun for you, 91 when this came out. So, and I also explained a lot of things there. So, this was Outrun here. Let me look at the options really quick. Hyper is the highest it'll go, because I just want to be sure. So this is Outrun for the Sega Genesis. Oh, one more thing. I forgot to mention. Outrun is also fully playable in Shenmue as an unlockable game. And really, in 2001, Shenmue, I think in your house, you could find a cartridge of Outrun for the Sega Genesis, and you can play it. You can play it in full. It's like a mini game. I forget if it was a cartridge you can find or an arcade game you played, but yeah, you can play this in full if you wanted to. So it's like a game in your game. apparently Rio, whatever his last name is, likes him some Outrun. He races forklifts all day, so, maybe he wants to go a little faster, so he drives a Testarossa too, in a virtual world to make himself feel better, or something. So yeah, Easter egg and Shenmue. So again, this was Outrun for the Sega Genesis, a really great port of the arcade game, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for the Genesis, looking for collecting for the Genesis. I can't vouch for the other versions. And of course, arcade cabinets are going to be tops to play this on. So again, hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's look at Am I Babbling? And I shall see you kiddos next time. Keep it retro.